Now, listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime. That's great. This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth. Right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
It's time for Mac's World.
And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
And you're listening to Mac World Live. Mac's World Live, 3 to 5 p.m. on Drive Time 99.3 FM and also on webcast1live.com. You can catch us there. My thanks to Mac for loaning me the mic while he was in town. And so he and the team were there talking about their trip to Israel over Christmas, over the holidays. Amazing, amazing what they have gotten to experience firsthand. On the phone right now, we have Representative Bobby Kaufmann. Bobby's no stranger to this network. You've heard him on the show that I do. He's in our state legislature. He's done a great job on the Oversight Committee. Finding out what kind of taxpayer funds went into the LGBTQ conference that so many people found incredibly offensive for young people. Then we had him on just not too long ago talking about the crybaby bill and how much of your tax funds went to colleges for safe spaces and petting ponies and all of that for those folks who couldn't quite deal with reality after the election. Bobby Kaufmann, once again, bringing us information that we need to know about happening right here in our communities. Representative, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me again. It's always a pleasure.
Give us the district number. You are the House District Representative for House District
73, which encompasses part of Muscatine County, all of Cedar County, and then I've got over a third of my district is actually in Johnson County, including part of the Iowa City area.
And there lies our problem.
Exactly.
It was really what spurred you on in the crybaby bill when you had constituents not able to get to situations where health issues might be a problem, and they couldn't get even through the interstate over there on I-80 because of the students and the blocking of that interstate during the situation there after the election. But tell us what's happening in Iowa City right now.
Well, when I woke up this morning, I'm a farmer, so I usually get up before dawn. I woke up at 5, and I expected to have a day of taking care of the cattle and the sheep and the pigs, and I was even going to do some tractor work today since it's nice out. And lo and behold, I saw a press release in my inbox from the mayor of Iowa City putting an item on the agenda for Tuesday night's Iowa City Council meeting, where they were going to be discussing the possibility of voting on Iowa City becoming a sanctuary city. And I was so just not only appalled, but also scared, truly, for my constituents, because this isn't just something we're seeing on CNN that's happening in Seattle or San Francisco or New York or even Chicago. This is now right here in our backyard.
Iowa City being one of the larger cities in our state, what happens if and we only have you for a short time, and I thank you for joining us. So I want to talk about, one, legally, the ramifications. I don't think you get to just ignore federal statutes, state statutes, and be anything you want to be. But two, the ramifications for security and safety of your citizens, which you took an oath, that mayor took an oath to protect the citizens under his watch.
Well, that's exactly right. The thought that if you detain somebody or pull somebody over that you can't ask them their immigration status is downright scary. This isn't about race or color or where you're from. I don't care what color your skin is. If you have nefarious intent for our folks, you shouldn't be on the streets. And I believe that the state of Iowa needs to join Texas and several other states, and I believe we need to pass a law this session that would formally ban sanctuary cities in our state.
And so, do you have the bill written, or since just hearing this morning, you're going to be working on it?
Well, I have to give credit where credit's due. And last year, Representative Steve Holt, Representative John Wills had a sanctuary city bill. I don't recall exactly what the wording is, but I want to compare their language to Governor Abbott's language down in Texas. And if we don't have to reinvent the wheel, we could just get up and running with their bill. But I wanted to formally support it as a member of who represents Johnson County. I wanted to let people across the state know that there are some of us here in eastern Iowa, in Johnson County, that have common sense.
So this is going to be voted on next Tuesday night?
This coming Tuesday night, they're going to formally hear their options, as in 4 days from now.
So one,
their lawyer.
I just have to tell you, as a citizen, I think it's slimy when you put something that important on your agenda a day or two after a holiday like New Year's Eve.
Exactly. And I think they did it for that reason, to try and, fly under the radar as low as they could.
So this will be the first hearing, and then there's like 3 hearings on something like this?
Yeah, typically the first meeting will be informational, where the lawyer is going to present them with 3 options. I'm hearing the 3 options are: don't ask if you're an officer, don't tell if you're an illegal immigrant, and don't enforce, which is the scariest of all, which directs city police not to cooperate with federal ICE officials. They'll go over those options and have a couple more public hearings. But it's Iowa City. I wouldn't be surprised if this did pass, which is why we need to take action at the state level.
And I don't know if we have any studies on this, but don't you think by not enforcing, you're inviting everybody, like you say, who may have nefarious intent to come there?
That's exactly right. It's like in the legislature when they had to have a vote to make it so that you couldn't publish people's private carry permits in the newspaper. It's a roadmap. It's a hey, go here where you won't get in trouble.
It's a safe haven for those who want to harm us.
Yeah, it's preposterous. If you do not wish us harm, then you've got nothing to worry about. If you're not breaking the law, you've got nothing to worry about. This is only going to benefit those that would have that would do harm to us.
Who will vote? Will it just be your city council members that vote on this, or would it be the whole city like a referendum?
It'll be a city council vote if they choose to proceed.
And we used to have, I think, one conservative or one Republican on your was it your county supervisors? Do you have any Republicans on the city council in that area?
Nope, that all changed. All the city council, all the supervisors are all proud liberal Democrats.
And they're liberal Democrats. So because this isn't necessarily Republican Democrat, we found out in this last election that a lot of folks who may not consider themselves Republican agreed with Donald Trump on securing our borders and on securing our cities and upholding the Constitution and our laws. So I believe there's some Democrats who won't agree with this, but they may not be sitting in your city council.
Oh, I agree completely. I've spoken to a lot of conservative, old-fashioned Democrats who supported Tuck It Up Buttercup, who would not be for sanctuary cities, who are for common sense. They might not agree with us on all the political issues, but they have common sense. So I think the Iowa City folks should table it. I hope this doesn't come to a vote, but if it does, we're going to have to take state action.
And so we hear this program in Central Iowa. It's heard online on Webcast One Live. People can replay the link. You can send the link to folks you know. If you have folks in this area, you need to be online. You need to be sending them an email, whether it's Facebook. Representative, what else can folks in Iowa be doing to raise such a ruckus that no mayor would think about this?
I think exactly what you just said. The power of the grassroots was shown at the election with Donald Trump. The power of the grassroots could possibly shut this down. If enough pressure is put on the council members that they decide to table it, then we wouldn't have to take state action, because I don't think there's any other city in this state that would do that, because it doesn't even make sense. It's only Iowa City, I think, that would try something like this. So if we could shut it down now, that would be very helpful. And not only that, but it'd keep us safe.
Absolutely. This is not a racist issue, as you said. This is not an us against anyone else. This is upholding the law which was put in place to keep citizens safe. Those citizens that your mayor took an oath to protect. By even considering this, he is violating the first oath he took in office.
Absolutely. This has nothing to do with race. This has nothing to do with somebody's skin color. This nation was built on immigrants, legal immigrants.
Do you have the ability, we don't in Iowa, to recall a mayor?
We do not have that ability, but it's been shown time and time again when a city official oversteps their bounds. Local control is the way to go, except when they are not being constitutional. And when a city or a mayor or a body attempts to do things that are not constitutional, it's incumbent upon us, the legislature, to step in and say, you cannot do that. And that's exactly what we'll have to do if we're not able to defeat this before it happens.
How can we get the mayor's name and the city council members' names? I'm going to say this, and you say whether or not you agree with me. Being an elected official, it might be a different view on your side of the fence. But these folks impact you at home, and I think it's okay to call them at home. Oh, absolutely. If you just simply Google Iowa City Council, they have a really nice website. It pops up right away. It shows who the city councilman and the mayor are, and it gives them their contact information. Just like you contact your legislator, when you decide to run for office like this, you better expect that if you do something controversial, the folks that you represent are going to hear from you, or that you're going to hear from them. And not just controversial, unconstitutional. Let's just be straight up with this. And you mentioned something too, Iowa City. Of course, we have that's the home of the University of Iowa. And to me, this is one of the biggest issues we're facing in our nation is colleges that are no longer teaching our students the Constitution, the privileges that we have here that we take so for granted, whether it's electing those who elect us. Iowa City, when college comes to your community, you are to impact the college, not the college infect the community. And that's what we're seeing too often.
Exactly. Couldn't agree with you more.
Which comes back to your crybaby bill, which is just one more reason we love Bobby Kaufmann being in the State House.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, as someone who's a young person and a conservative, I feel compelled to speak out to show other young people that might harbor conservative thoughts but are too afraid to say it, that it's okay to stand up and it's okay to fight.
Well, I thank you for being here today, Representative. I know you probably have a tight schedule. I think you've got other interviews to do as well. It seems when trouble arises, you are one of the... we have several great members of our State House right now who come up with you and will stand up to the test. But we thank you for taking the time, being brave, and taking the stand.
Well, I very much appreciate it, and thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
And I don't know if you've seen, but the RNC 2000 Republican platform has sanctuary cities in it. On page 26, the heading is Government Reform, page 26, because sanctuary cities violate federal law and endanger their own citizens. They should not be eligible for federal funding. So you've
Absolutely.
got the covering of the Republican Party. Thank you, Bobby Kaufmann, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
To our listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're going to have some other folks join us towards the end of the program. Bob Fritch is going to be here with WatchmenForZion.org. And Frank has joined us in studio with Bob, and we'll come back and have some more conversation on this and Israel and other issues of the day. Stay tuned.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi. My name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
A million little drops of rain can be enough to cause a tidal wave, a flood of your love.
And you're listening to Max World Live. I am Tamara Scott, getting to sit in for Matt, who just returned from Israel. And in studio with me now, Frank and Bob. And we like Jed behind the glass. Thank you for being there. I just spoke with Representative Bobby Kaufmann. He is the State House representative for the Iowa City area and for a portion of that area. And you heard him right here in Iowa, in the Midwest. We have a mayor who has such little regard for the Constitution, for upholding the law, and for the pledge, the vow that he took when he came into office to uphold the Constitution and protect its citizens. Not just anybody, the citizens. So he's breaking that first vow that he took. So we know right now the integrity is gone. And to do this particular move, you put your own people at risk. This is not just a political move. I don't know who would be promoting this idea. But let me just show you if there's any clarity that could help bring you around. The Republican National Platform, 2016, Cleveland, were we there in July? We were there in July. This is what was passed. Because sanctuary cities violate federal law and endanger their own citizens, they should not be eligible for federal funding. Using state licenses to reward people in the country illegally is an affront to the rule of law and must be halted. In light of both current needs and historic practice, we urge the reform of our guest worker programs to eliminate fraud, improve efficiency, and ensure that they serve the national interest. So there's more to this. It's on page 26. It's under the heading of Reforming Government or Government Reform. But I am quite pleased to tell you that this was the Republican platform. I'm quite pleased to tell you that Donald Trump's folks met with several of the committee chairs, subcommittee chairs, and other groups that attended, those groups being Concerned Women for America, Focus on the Family, Family Research Council, Republican Lawyers Association, National Legal Foundation, Freedom Works, a whole assortment. And out of that meeting, we were given the notice that the two senior representatives of the Trump campaign, Ed Brookover and John Marshburn, attended the meeting, answered questions, and were quite pleased to say that they would stand with the conservative platform, had no will to water it down. They were there to listen with communication and open channels, and Trump would run on that conservative platform, which he did. And if you remember, that was a lot of the hoorah, the following that he got, was because he stood on the platform and didn't run from it.
Okay, Tamara, let me ask you, that's pretty hot, Mike, why do you find the left is so tolerant of folks who potentially hate us? What is this all about? Now, I know you're in official capacity as the GOP chair of Iowa or whatever, so you're probably limited on things you can say. But why is this?
All right. So on the way to the studio today, I was wondering, have we lost the day where we can just talk things over and one could say something about a subject without being condemned as opposing, promoting, defending, or attacking? So I'm going to hope that we still have that freedom, and I'll speak as a person, not as a national committee woman, though I am the person serving in that capacity. Here's what I wonder if it is. I think it comes back spiritually. For those of us who are Christians, we have the discernment, and some of us more than others, and some of us listen to it and don't listen to it when we should. I heard, I think it was Charles Stanley saying the other day, people say follow your conscience. You should not just follow your conscience because many consciences have been seared. There is a submission of your conscience, okay? But for us, we have a Holy Spirit that we follow that can tell us right from wrong. If you don't have that, what do you go off of?
Feelings.
Feelings. So how do I feel if I think I'm doing the magnanimous thing of offering friendship to someone who's not my friend?
Mm-hmm.
Well, is it?
I think it's as simple as that. I think they feel like they're going above and beyond and showing how big and bold they are in extending the hand of friendship and welcoming in someone who potentially hates them. And it's the unrealistic utopian attitude of, surely once they hear me and get to know who I am, they'll love me. They'll quit their harmful ways and their centuries of pilfering, plundering, and raping and murdering.
Well, there's a couple of thoughts that I have. I mean, obviously, I think you can think it's strictly comes down to political gain. Then you have things like, there's certain people who feel the country, college professors are teaching in our classes, in our colleges and universities, that we are an immoral country. We were founded immorally. So there was almost this idea that when Barack Obama came into office, that the United States, this empire person that was going out and stealing and raping and robbing and pillaging from third world countries, itself up, that somehow United States needed to be knocked down a peg. Do you find that to be the case, that the liberal is just a liberal thought that we're an immoral country and we really need to be taken to task, like Jeremiah Wright said, the chickens are coming home to roost?
I just used that expression. What did I use that on? The chickens came home to roost. Oh, when Hillary invited everyone to vote other than how they were supposed to on the Electoral College, and then people were surprised that she had more defectors, faithless electors than Trump did. And I said, she brought it on. She invited it. There's a Bible verse that talks about those who set up the trap will be the ones who fall in the trap. And so it didn't surprise me at all there. So you just asked me, are the chickens coming home to roost? What we see here are years of neglect, whether it's parents. There's a great video out right now. Simon is his name. He's talking about on social media about how parents have failed to do their jobs. The educational system has failed to do its job. And now employers are having to clean it up and teach those things that we should have taught toddlers and kindergartners. So we have failed. Not only have we failed, Frank, but we have taught the wrong policies purposely. We've allowed what the enemy couldn't do by weapon to take place in our classroom by word. And so this was my concern, that we might never, ever get another great conservative elected, because you have kids coming out of academia, K through college, being told that capitalism is greedy, the white man is hateful, that the Constitution's outdated. So, yes, a little bit of it is coming home to roost. We have not, is it Daniel Webster that said, God grants liberty to those who will protect it? We have not protected it. We've been on coast.
Well, what frustrates me, and is your position as the GOP chairwoman of Iowa, every single campaign season, whatever candidate we put forward, it doesn't make any difference, without fail, we're accused of declaring war on women, on atheists, on gays, on immigrants. Everything there's potentially somebody to declare war on, our candidate gets accused of that. When the real war is coming from the Arab Muslim countries, and yet the liberals are scared. There's a word I'd like to use, but I shouldn't use it, but they're scared to death to say anything bad about Islam countries that declare the real war on women and gays and atheists.
Which is why you saw Milo, I don't know his name, a very well-known homosexual who's supporting Trump. Because he knows while they don't agree on everything, at least his life will not be in jeopardy under a Trump administration when a Hillary kept welcoming the Islamic beliefs.
So it comes down to, is the liberals and the Democrats just merely stirring this pot for political gain? Is it just to get in office?
I don't know if it's even political gain or if it's disruption and chaos, which brings them the tyranny, the Saul Alinsky political gain that they want.
Or are they so spiritually bankrupt they can't do anything else?
Well, I can't answer that, but they are certainly spiritually bankrupt. They certainly are. And you brought up the war on women. We've continually seen where Republicans continue to put people in positions of power, and we don't look at the plumbing. You're more than that to us. You're a person with ideas and principles, and that's what we look at and vote for. Who's on our phone line, Chad? Is it our next guest?
Yes.
He's here already? Mm-hmm. We'll let Bob join in. Bob Fritch is joining us. Bob is from the WatchmenForZion.org. Bob, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Tamara, for allowing me to come on.
For our listeners, you're out of Arizona, and you have, what is your degree from Liberty?
I have a Master of Arts in Religion from Liberty Baptist Theological Seminary, and my undergrad is from Biola University in Southern California.
So, Frank, there was something you made on that point that I wanted to come back to, and my mind hasn't yet gotten to circle back around to that point, but it tied in with what you were saying on the left and how they're leaning. Oh, because this whole, somebody brought up Russia in the earlier show, that Russia, right, the interference, and what we're seeing now is this retaliation from Obama. We're hearing sanctions may come down tomorrow because he's angry over something.
And kicked out 30-plus diplomats.
How ridiculously dangerous could this be right now? And if it were the right doing this, the left and the media would be
losing their mind.
In upheaval. First off, I don't know that we have the proof that Russia was interfering or how they were interfering with this election, but we do know that Obama was apparently in Israel or his people, representatives, were there trying to work against Netanyahu in his election.
So he's being absolutely hypocritical because we're all spying and hacking on each other. Wasn't it Angela Merkel who got her drawers in a bunch because somebody had hacked her and found out some things about her? And she was very upset with the Obama administration over that. So
I won't comment on that particular issue, but you were asking about the left. Why is it that they refuse to speak out against Islam? I haven't seen, the website's not in front of me, so this is risky. But Hillary Clinton's campaign and the foundation had a good amount of money coming out of Saudi Arabia. So there's another reason why the left doesn't speak out against Islam when they know it's dangerous. Because they all think they'll have a position of power and protection.
So she's the great protector of women and children, but she takes money from countries who absolutely suppress and oppress women and children.
Beat, rape, and kill women and children. So for very little reason. Well, Bob, aren't you glad you've joined us on this conversation?
I know, I like it.
Now, I have mentioned the RNC platform already today, but I did bring it in with me because Israel, I just want you to know, in the RNC, the Republican National Committee platform, and honestly, we've had good bipartisan support for Israel on many, many occasions. But I will say, too often, Democrats back down unless it's something that's going to help them in an election or look good for them with a certain constituency. And here we are. We're backs against the wall. This is when it matters. And we have John Kerry and Obama tripping all over themselves as they have blown our relationship, as far as I'm concerned. They have stepped to a low level and let down the guard between us and our ally Israel. Let me just read to you the Republican platform. We recognize Jerusalem as the eternal and indivisible capital of the Jewish state and call on the American embassy to be moved there in fulfillment of the U.S. law. You heard Trump talking about that. You heard him stand on our platform. And we talk about no daylight being able to come between us and Israel. That's in the Republican platform. That is on page 47, because Republicans stand on principle, not just election and poll results. And I'm sorry if that offends you, but I want you to revisit and reevaluate where you are at and what you thought your party stood for, because you see when their back's against the wall, what they do to those who have been our friends.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with Bob, and we'll talk more about Israel and God's plan. Stay tuned.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
God, I'm running for your heart. I'm running for your heart till I am a soul.
And you're listening to Mac's World. I am Tamara Scott, sitting in for Mac. I don't know, is he still recuperating from Israel, do you think?
Yes, probably.
Jet lag?
I would say he's just beat. Glad to be back home.
And I think beyond even jet lag or physical, I think emotionally and spiritually, there's just so much to process.
Yeah.
It is just such an amazing trip.
Well, and then you got to remember, Mac's not a guy that likes plane rides, period, much less a long 10-hour
or 12.
I did pray for
12-hour plane ride and a 6-hour layover in Newark, New Jersey. And
of course, I really, really prayed when I heard that they were looking for Americans in the hotel, but found out that was fake later. But you were covered in prayer because I didn't know.
Well, that's good.
Joining me on the line is Bob Fritch, Fritch. He is the founder of WatchmenForZion.org. Thank you for joining us, Bob.
You, Tamara.
So here we are talking about Israel. We're talking about the fact, and I've put on my Facebook page, Tamara Scott, for anybody who wants to look on there and see it. You know, did Obama and Kerry and Rice even orchestrate this deal at the UN? A slap, just an ultimate slap to our ally, to Israel, who's been so good to us. And we know Genesis 3, God blesses those who bless Israel, God curses those who curse Israel. So this is Obama's ultimate. And I won't say it's his ultimate because I'm not sure he won't try something else before he leaves it, but it's that toddler throwing the tantrum on their way out the door.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes,
biblically, I ask you this, is a two-state solution even biblical?
No, it's not, Tamara. God has always had a one-state solution in mind. It's always been the land of Israel has always been for the Jewish people, going way back to Abraham. Abraham made a covenant, or God made a covenant with Abraham, and basically it was normally when it's called you cut covenant, is that an animal is cut in half, and the two parties walk between the two halves. And that is like an agreement saying, basically, if one of us breaks this covenant, then may we be like the animal that we're just cut. But when God cut covenant with Abraham, what he did was he put, after the animal was, cut in two, God put Abraham asleep, and God walked through, passed between the two halves, by himself, indicating that this covenant is all on me. So basically, I'm not going to break covenant, no matter what, the children of Israel do. So it's an eternal covenant. He said it's an everlasting covenant to him, to Isaac and Jacob, and to their descendants forever and ever and ever. So the land basically is God owns the land, and He's given it the deed to the land to the Jewish people. And He says also later on in the Old Testament that anybody who divides my land, the judgments of God will come upon those nations if they try to divide the land. And we've seen this take place over and over again in America's history when we've tried to, force Israel to divide up their land and natural disasters, within 24 to 48 hours have taken place in the United States as God's judgment upon our nation for trying to break that covenant.
And I think you have that story on your Facebook page, Bob Fritch,
Yes.
Fritch, that goes through some of the examples of what folks can outline as a punishment or a retribution when they have gone against God's word on Israel. And some out there may not believe it, may not hear it, but you believe that is God's hand?
Yes, and there's a book out by William Koenig, Koening, called Eye to Eye, The Consequences of Dividing the Land. He wrote it several years ago during the Bush administration, and he did did a lot of research and documented where, as I've said, 24 to 48 hours after we've tried to force Israel to abandon their land, to divide up their land, things like that, then within the next day or so, there's been a natural disaster that's taken place, in the United States.
I'm glad you bring up William Koenig. It is an excellent book. I have that book, and you've reminded me. One of the things I'm going to try to do in 2017, Dr. David Noble, extremely wise man, has challenged us to read a book a week. I don't know if I'll get a book a week, but I'm going to put it on my challenge list. Frank, you have a question.
I was reading something once that basically asserted that of all the mites, from the Ammonites to the Amalekites to Edomites to Moabites, there wasn't any group that was more a thorn in the flesh of the side of Israel, God's people, than the Philistines. Right. They were just absolute war-making fools. They were masters of weapon making, metal weapon making and stuff, and they were just a thorn in the flesh. And Palestine equals Philistine.
Yes.
You just can't get away from it. So this is an age-old battle that there is no real solution to. There's no two-state solution. I'm sorry. It has to be a one-state. Would you agree?
Yes, I do, definitely, for sure. And and what John Kerry was talking about yesterday was he was giving more credence and putting more emphasis on this is Israel's fault. It's Israel's not willing to make peace. When that's an outright lie. I mean, 4 times. I don't know the amount of years it's spread apart that Israel has come out and said we will meet with the Palestinians, with a boss. We want peace. We're offering a two-state solution to you, and each time they have denied, they've refused it. So it's not like Israel has not been trying. They're saying, yeah, we want peace. Israel wants peace no matter what. And I've heard that if the Palestinians will make peace with the Israelis, they will tear down that wall, which, the pro-Palestinians call the apartheid wall, which is another lie. But they would tear down the wall completely if the Palestinians would just make peace with the Israelis.
So are you of the opinion that this fight is not over land, like many are saying, that you are of the firm opinion that that the Palestinians are out to constantly torpedo the peace effort? They use it as a wedge issue to divide up Americans, but they have no intention of peace. Right. Is this your thinking, that this is not a fight over land whatsoever, like Netanyahu says?
No, it's not. It's not about land at all. Yeah, I mean, even in the Hamas charter, it says the Hamas charter says that we want to wipe out every Israeli, every Jew in Israel. We want to totally wipe out all Israel, kill every Jew, push them in the sea, no matter what. So that's, if the Hamas charter says that that is our goal. That's our mission statement, is to kill every Jew and to wipe them all out totally. As they say, from land to the sea, Palestine will be free. They don't mean that that Jews will still remain there. They're saying it's going to be free of Jews altogether. That's their intent. That's and the thing is, go ahead.
Well, and what people need to realize is there won't be peace. Even if you wiped out every Jew, there still would not be peace. Look at the attacks between the warring fractions of Islamic cultures.
Oh, yeah.
So the Palestinians will fight whoever else is there that doesn't agree quite like them. And I don't want to interrupt what you were going to say, but how much land did God give to the Israelites?
Oh, I mean, in the original, when you read the original boundaries of the land that God gave to the Israelites, basically it goes from the Sinai Peninsula to the Euphrates River, basically, up to probably the border of Lebanon. I mean, it's a huge amount of land.
Much smaller than what Israel is.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So not only does Israel deserve their whole country as it is, they deserve much more according to what God gave them. And And we've got to go to break here. When we come back, I want you to answer where did the Palestinians have? What was actually theirs? What historically do they deserve? So we'll talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Bob Fritch, Watchman for Zion.org. Frank and Bob in studio.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Then like a hero who takes the stage when we're on the edge of our seat saying it's too late. Well, let me introduce you to Amazing Grace.
Tamara Scott. You're listening to Mac's World Live. Mac's still not back at the mic, but he was in studio today earlier talking to us about Israel. Leo Holman, one of our frequent guests on Truth for Our Time, also heard on 99.3 FM. Put a quote out on Facebook. There are literally hundreds of territorial disputes in the world, from Tibet to Taiwan, Cyprus to Kashmir, but in the eyes of the UN, only Israel deserves to be called out and demonized. How true that is. My guest is Bob Fritch online, Fritch, founder of WatchmenForZion.org. Bob, what is the Palestinian claim to the land? Historically, spiritually, religiously, is there any?
Well, their claim to the land is that they claim that it's basically all theirs, and that Israel is an occupying army on Palestinian land. Historically, they had no rights to land at all. Historically, there really hasn't been a Palestinian people. Now, this goes back to, the word Palestine basically goes way back to the Roman Caesar Hadrian. Hadrian in 135, after the Bar Kokhba revolt, got tired of the Jews then just constantly revolting. So what he did was he renamed Judea and Samaria, called Philistia, which is basically, it's the Romanized or Latinized version of Philistine, or he named it Palestine, which is the Romanized version of Philistia. So basically, to insult the Jews, he was renaming the land after their bitter enemy, the Philistines. The Philistines were never a indigenous people to the land of Israel. They were a seafaring people. They came to Israel by way of sea, and then settled there. So there are many Palestinians that say, their history goes all the way back to the Philistines. Well, there's, and the Canaanites, those people are dead. There are no remnants of any, Philistine people. There's no archaeological finds of any Philistine or Palestinian people. There's not a Palestinian language. They have a flag, but there's nothing going back. So really, they have no claim to the land. Now, Israel has always offered, Arabs, to come and to, dwell on the land and live there, in peace. Even, Prime Minister Ben-Gurion, after Israel became a nation in 1948, Ben-Gurion told the Arab people there, you're welcome to live here, in peace with us, and, share the land with us. And so Israel has always been welcoming of people willing to share the land. But the Palestinians, they say, well, the land is ours, you're an occupying force on our land, we want you gone.
I was reading in a Bible dictionary, I believe, that Philistine has something to do with they're like a sojourner in a foreign land. It's not even their home. But on Google, I Googled the definition of Philistine, and it says a person who is hostile or indifferent to culture and the arts, or who has no understanding of them, hostile or indifferent and the arts. So clearly, Philistine is Palestine. There's no two ways to get around it. So basically, these people are anti to the culture of Israel, and they always have been and will always will be.
Yes, definitely. So Netanyahu has said, we, has welcomed, Arabs there are over 1 million Arabs that are naturalized citizens of Israel. They benefit. They get all the benefits of the Israeli people, the Jewish people there. And so he, and Netanyahu said that, well, we're welcoming to the Palestinians, become part of us and, have land, as long as you want to live in peace. But yet the Jews are not welcome to live in what's considered Palestinian land, which is the settlements. They don't want any Jews living in the Palestinian areas, of Gaza and the West Bank. So, they're not willing to do anything, but Israel's willing to do everything.
This resolution that Obama's kind of slapped Israel with, do you think, that, in your opinion, and I don't know if you want to speculate on this, but do you think there's another slap coming at Israel before he leaves office?
That's a good question. I think the State Department came out yesterday and said that, there are going to be no more resolutions regarding Israel before Obama's gone. If there are, they will veto them. But I don't trust Obama as far as I can throw him. I really don't.
Well, I mean, yeah, he was supposed to stand with Israel, and he didn't fulfill that resolution. And we, as a country, and no matter which party, have always been faithful to Israel. I have heard that they will have a resolution come forward to recognize a Palestinian state. That this resolution kind of talked around a Palestinian state, but that the next one will recognize an official Palestinian state. I hope that's not true. I hope that we or someone else will veto that, one of the 5 permanent members. But I hope that's not the case.
Well, supposedly there's going to be a meeting in France on the 15th of January, kind of be dealing with this. And what the Israelis are afraid of is that at this meeting, that France will permanently recognize, a Palestinian state. And who knows what the United States will do with that one, if they will agree with it or they'll deny it.
A lot of people are saying that the Obama administration orchestrated this whole resolution and bent people's arms to vote for it. And Netanyahu's come out and says he has the goods, he has the evidence. I mean, clearly, according to what I was watching last night on television, many of the defenders of this are coming out and almost acknowledging it, saying, oh, well, yeah, maybe he did, and so what if he did? And they're trying to downplay the fact now. So I think it's pretty much an open secret that Obama and his administration, John Kerry, etc., orchestrated this effort and this resolution. So it's going to come out in the wash, I believe, that U.S. was behind this all the way. What do you think? What effect do you think that will have on the upcoming administration?
And you've got 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Or less.
More or less. It's going to be tough for Trump, I think. I think he can work his way around it, per se. It may be hard for him, but
I think it sets the stage for him. I think once again, Obama, there's a verse that says what others mean for harm, God can use for good. I think it's Genesis 20:50 or 50:20. I'm not sure.
Yes, amen.
And I think it sets the stage. Once again, people are looking right past Obama to the leadership, the real leadership they see in a President Trump. And so, this is nothing new from the left. Frank, you talked on it earlier. The left has tried to divide us from our government, from our faith, that if we wanted to be successful in business or government, we had to give up our faith. It's the same thing they're trying to do to Israel. Bob Fritch has been my guest, watchman for Zion.org. Thanks for being here in studio today, guys.
Thank you, Tamara.